Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again to the Mike Stand Show. Oh, we got a lot of stuff to cover with you today. Once again, I am Mike Stand, your host of the Mike Stand Show, and I am here with Banner James. We're very glad to have him back with us. Now I'm glad to announce that Banner James is now our producer of the show, so I'm very glad to have him here with us. James, how you doing today, brother?
Doing great, Mike. A lot of fun to do this, man.
It's been a great, man. And you know the great thing about it is that it's a great cause. This show is all about legalizing marijuana. Now, guys, if you're listening to it right now, you've seen our little catchphrase on here today, which is our Bill of Rights, which is a 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment was put together for powers not given to the federal government. They're given to the state or the people. This stops government from taking more power than the Constitution gives it. Balanced power between state and federal government. That's what we're talking about here today, guys. But we're going to be taking a look at the Christian view. And that's the Christian view on medical marijuana. Now, before we get started, Banner, you did a little research in the Bible. You know, I love that you're a historian, that you're a ghostwriter, that you probably know about American history. You've probably forgotten more about American history than most people remember. But what did you find? What did you find in the Bible?
First of all, Mike, great to be here. And I just want to say about that states' rights things real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the way the founders really intended the government to operate. But Abraham Lincoln took all that away with the emergency war powers and during the Civil War. And after that, you know how when something gets established in government, it never comes back. So, but real quickly, I was looking in the Bible the other day, and I found in Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And is that a King James version you got?
Isn't that amazing that I have that sitting right here in front of me today, just so I can read, so nobody can think that I'm making this up. I don't want anyone to believe that this is coming straight out of the King James version.
God's word right there.
This is God's word right here. And let me tell you something. God has certainly helped me in my life, and I got to tell you, man, I love that I've been able to find these things. So I'm going to read straight from that real quick. Genesis 1:29. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. Now, Banner, take a moment and explain what they mean when they say meat.
I think meat means the basis of life. You can use it for food, medicine, anything to enhance your Christian life with God. It means it's okay. God put it here. It's okay. Now, he also, remember in the Garden of Eden, he put some serpents and some poison ivy and things like that, to stay away from. But that's what he means. It's okay to use everything that he put here naturally. If we can benefit from it, use it, do it. He's really cool with that. That's what I think it means. And I think a lot of Christians will agree with that.
Hallelujah, man. I agree with you.
Looking around.
Man, I got to tell you, I do agree with you very much. And that's what but we want to talk about the humanity of marijuana. And Christians are known for their humanity. Exactly. And so, the one thing I want people to do, what I want them to take away from this show is I want them to support medical marijuana that's made in the USA. Okay? We've already talked about how this started in China, way before Christ. And then from China, it moved on over China. I did some other research on it. When it moved over to India, India used to put it in their milk and use it as a pain relief to help them sleep. It was put in. That's how. Then it went from India. Then it got over. Then Mexico brought it over into our country and showed us how to use it on a recreational fashion. But it was when weed was brought out, when marijuana was founded in China, it was used as medicine and also used as medicine in India. It wasn't until Mexico started bringing it over into the states, where the southern states was learning to use it as a recreational product. But so I want us to learn about supporting medical marijuana in this country, because it does have an amazing amount of benefits for it. I mean, there again, we've spoken on this. We're going to continue speaking on it. That to this day, no one has died from a marijuana overdose. There is absolutely no history or no file found on this.
And if you're hurting, it can really help. It may not cure it. It may not alleviate 100% of the pain, but it can make life really bearable.
You know, I'm going to bring up a point today, and this is not something that I'm proud to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it. And of course, you've known me for a long time, and we've had this conversation. And you know, there was a time, and this was just about 12 years ago. I had a really bad addiction. This is when I was, entertaining in bars at the time, and I had a little bit of an addiction to a thing called cocaine. What they call they call it a Schedule 2 narcotic, where marijuana is a Schedule 1. So I don't, and then also methamphetamine is a Schedule 2 narcotic. So this kind of blows me away, when I think about this, because I had a really bad reaction to cocaine, and this was the last time that I ever used it. I had been up for 3 days, and I was still going in and performing, doing my show, but the more cocaine I did, the more I kept going. And I will never forget the day that I got home that morning. I left the bar at 3 a.m. I didn't get home until 7 a.m. because I was still partying over at a friend's house. So I finally get home, and I remember that my body it just locked up on me. It was like I just became paralyzed. Now, I want to explain this. That's a scary feeling. And you know the old saying, there's no such thing as atheists in the foxhole. Well, let me tell you something, brothers. I was in the foxhole right then. And I sat there, and all I could do was raise my eyes to the heavens and say, God, please, I'll never touch it again. Just please heal me. Don't let me die. I'm not ready to go. And this is true stuff I'm telling you here, guys. So I understand addiction, but I'm going to tell you, within seconds, my body was restored. And I started weeping. I mean, I started crying like I just got done watching the best Little House on the Prairie rerun there is. And so I do understand about addiction, but because I went through it. But you know something? I didn't go to programs that taught me how to get off of it. I went straight to God. And God healed me of that narcotic. That's a narcotic. Marijuana is a plant. We've talked about this. It grows up out of the earth. It's a plant. It was given to us by our Savior. It was given to us by our Heavenly Father. God created it on this earth. And is it okay for people like Jeff Sessions to tell us that it's not a good drug, that it's a drug? It's not good. Jeff Sessions claims to be a godly man. Where is his humanity? And we're going to explain that to you here in a little bit, because we got a lot of things to cover here today.
Well, he's not suffering.
No, he isn't.
But he's in Washington, where if he was suffering, he could go get him some.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really funny to me, okay? Washington, D.C., one of the 29 states. Now, they're also legal for recreation and medical.
The government district of the United States.
Of the United States. Now, they have the little place right around the corner from the Congress and the White House, and I think it's not Starbucks for them anymore. It's Weed Bucks. They all gather there in the morning, get their little token of weed. But thank God they are obeying the law, and they don't carry it into the federal property with them, which is our Congress, our Senate, and our White House. Now, what Trump does in the White House, I don't know. But
can we give our senators and representatives urine test? Do we need to do that?
Yeah, I wish we would.
They give me one when I get a job.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I own my own business. I went to get bonded. I had to have a drug test. So yeah, I mean, come on. Why are we not? If they're saying that, if we have to have a drug test, why don't they have a drug test? It kind of bothers me. It bothers me an awful lot. Well, as you're seeing on the screen right now, as you're watching, I want to talk about Alexis Bortel for a minute, okay? This is a 12-year-old girl. A 12-year-old girl that suffered from seizures from a very young age. At the age of 11, her father moved her out of Texas because she couldn't get CBD oil. And I want you to, please, I'm going to let her say, listen to her story here, guys, and I want you to hear what she has to say.
I'll get it up here in a minute, Mike. There it comes.
Here we go.
A 12-year-old girl is spearheading a campaign to legalize medical marijuana across the whole country. Alexis Bortel says she and her family had no choice but to move from their Texas home to Colorado to treat her severe epilepsy. Now her family and a handful of others are suing Attorney General Jeff Sessions and the DEA. They're demanding cannabis for the treatment of their illnesses, diseases, and medical conditions. Barry Peterson spoke with Alexis. He is in Denver, Colorado with her story. Barry, good morning.
Good morning. Well, here at Medicine Man, they grow a lot of the marijuana that they use in their pot products. Now, even though marijuana is legal in Colorado for recreational use, there's still a debate about its value to treat medical conditions. But one family thinks this is nothing less than a lifesaver.
Well, ever since I've been on this cannabis, I've actually been seizure-free for today. It's 974 days, so we're coming up on 1,000, so I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good indeed, because this was once the life of Alexis Bortel. Seizures every few days, as seen in these videos taken at the direction of her doctors. Her parents say epilepsy medications didn't work, and there was even talk of brain surgery. What do you call epilepsy?
Well, I call it my seizure monster.
But this seems to tame the seizure monster, an oil made from marijuana taken twice a day. Her family lived in Texas, where they couldn't get the oil they needed, but they could in Colorado, where both medical and recreational pot are allowed.
Now, what she's using is called Haley's Hope, but let's go on so we can continue here.
For her father, Dean Bortel, the decision to move here 3 years ago was an easy one.
I would die for her, right? So the least I could do is uproot my life and give her a chance at the exact same freedoms and future I had.
You'd do it again?
Twice on Sunday.
Are you adjusted to being here?
We've been here about 3 years, so we're adjusting.
Alexis hopes the lawsuit will make medical marijuana legal across the country. Do you think it's unfair that this medicine is not available to everybody in the United States?
I think it's really unfair because I feel like they're basically punishing us because we're sick.
But some medical experts are not sure. Jacqueline French is the chief scientific officer of the Epilepsy Foundation.
We really need more research to find out what's helping, what's hurting, whether people should opt for this over some other options that they may have.
Alexis has turned her
Let me pause right there.
Miss French obviously isn't suffering from anything like that. So, of course, she knows what's good for the child.
Yeah, you know, and there's already been so much research done. UCLA has done some great research, and I mean, they have found so many reasons
But
why
there's
marijuana.
closed minds who, let's pump them full of man-made opioids that physicians get out there and put in everybody's medicine cabinet and get them hooked, and the physicians get rich peddling this stuff. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, don't be, because you brought up a very good point, a valid point, that we have a drug out there right now called fentanyl. Okay, and because of Jeff Sessions being owned by Big Pharma, he's so invested in Big Pharma, and they've given so much money to buy the congressmen and senators to get them voted. And if you look at their record, it's not just the Republicans. They buy they've bought Democrats, Republicans, Independents, anybody who'll take their money. They have their lobbyists out there doing it. And oh yeah, they choose them all because they can only give so much of a donation to so many. But oh my gosh, can you imagine how much the lobbyists are making off this shit? I'm telling, excuse my language, folks, because I know we're talking about Christians and humanity. Well, my humanity is boiling up right now. But let's go on, because if you're looking at the screen right now, look at that beautiful young girl on there, a beautiful 12-year-old girl that doesn't have to fight seizures anymore because marijuana has helped her. But look at dumbass over here on the left. Where he belongs, by the way, is on the left. But let's continue on with this part, okay?
Epilepsy into her cause, making soap and donating the proceeds to charity, even writing a book. But all she really wants is just to be a kid. And
Wow, you know that right there, man. That's what brought me to tears last night. I'm telling you, when I watched this, it brought me to tears last night. She just wants to be a kid. Just oh my! Listen to what she says here, guys. I mean, this just tears me up every time I listen to it. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but this really gets me.
Make you also feel more normal in your regular life.
Yes.
Why?
Because I can, let's say, have a sleepover at a friend's house without having a seizure.
Why did you think people would listen to a 12-year-old?
Well, I feel like it wouldn't really matter because it's the right thing to do. And I don't think I need to be over 18 to do the right thing.
The DEA and the Justice Department both turned down a request for an interview.
Of course they
As for
did.
Alexis, she lives this new normal one day at a time, but she hopes that the marijuana means the seizure monster will never come back.
Nearly 1,000 days. That's pretty good scientific research right there.
Well, that was done 5 months ago. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's a lot. That's what
But
almost.
yet Mrs. French, who seems to be very well fed and very comfortable in life, and obviously not suffering from this. You know, George Washington, the greatest American. He was a human being.
Our founding father.
He had his faults, but still, if you believe in this country, he set the standard. He had a lovely, by all accounts, lovely young 17-year-old daughter named Patsy Custis Washington. He adopted her. She was his stepdaughter. She was a long-time epileptic sufferer. She died in front of George and Martha Washington at the dinner table at Mount Vernon with an epileptic seizure. And from all I've read, the most studied man in my curriculum has been George Washington. I firmly believe, especially because he was a gentleman farmer first before he was a general and a politician, if he had have known that cannabis could have saved Patsy's life. I'm going out on a limb here and sounding like a real know-it-all, but I honestly believe George Washington would have said, yes, Patsy, smoke this plant, ingest this plant, whatever, to save her life.
Absolutely. I agree with you, man.
And that's true. Look it up, folks.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that she would say that. Now I want you to listen to this here, okay? Now this is Jeff said. This comes directly from HuffPost, and I really appreciate this. But I want y'all to listen to this, guys. Listen to just that's why he's got the title "Dumbass" on the left. I want you to listen to what he says about marijuana.
He's stuck in the 60s, folks.
Oh, he's stuck in the 30s.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions is a serious marijuana buzzkill. But before you toke up on 420, remember the AG still thinks it's 1936.
I, as you know, am dubious about marijuana.
Did he say doobie or dubious? What did he say?
I think he said Doobie Brothers, China Grove.
That might have been it. Because he's probably invested in China too. But let's move on here.
60% of the United States supporting marijuana legalization. The Attorney General's best judgment reeks of old stereotypes using out-of-date facts and misinformed ideas, echoing the propaganda film Reefer Madness.
The burning weed with its roots in hell.
Marijuana is not the kind of thing that ought to be legalized. It ought not to be minimized.
Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
They drink like fish, Jeff.
What did he just say? Good people don't smoke marijuana?
No, they take opioids and heroin and they drink alcohol like it's going out of style.
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. I think you're a good guy. I'm a good guy. He's calling. What is he? Is him and Hillary? Is he getting a little on the side? Well, I can't say. It's probably been so long he doesn't even know they moved it. I think would be his response. But is he like calling us deplorables? It's pretty much the same thing. He's saying people that smoke marijuana. Look at the way they spelled it. Marihuana. They didn't even know how to spell the damn thing back then. So they had no. If they can't spell it, how in the hell do they know what it is? My gosh. Let's go ahead and continue with it. Man, this is killing me. This is.
Debauchery, violence,
Suicide. I smoked a joint. I jumped out of a window.
And we're going to see more marijuana use. It's not going to be good.
No, it's going to be great.
And the ultimate end of the marijuana addict.
This drug is dangerous. You cannot play with it. It's not funny. It's not something to laugh about.
I laugh in your dumbass face. I tell you guys, if that doesn't just really get you right there in your cojones, I don't know what would. You know, this man is supposed to be a Christian, and I think, like I said, Christians are compassionate people.
Yeah, you just read that.
I mean, it just said right there in the Bible that all plants that bear seeds. How do you think marijuana keeps growing? It bears seeds, but
My name is Jeff.
he doesn't agree with it. Cause that's why he's got the title of dumbass. Now, I have one other that I want you to listen to here, guys, and this one blows me away, too. This is Washington State. They're getting ready for the federal marijuana crackdown that Jeff Sessions is claiming. Now, Jeff Sessions has come out and said, and he said this like 5 days after our first show, so I know damn good and well now, and I'll just use it like they do on TV. My sources have told me that someone within his political office, they listened to it. Once again, even though
My name is Jeff.
he listened to it, somebody listened to it, and they got the point. And then all of a sudden, 5 days later, he's in front of this panel of senators and congressmen, and he was asked about medical marijuana. He goes, well, I believe that there is room for studies to be done on it. Okay? This guy flip-flops back and forth so much. When the senators were meeting with him before he was confirmed as the AG, he told them that he was not going to interfere with the coal law. Okay, the coal law, why would you take something away from Obama? That was the only good thing Obama did in his whole administration in all of 8 years, was taking focus off of states selling marijuana. Our 10th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, once again, our 10th Amendment, state rights. We should be able to make the decision on what type of medicine we want to use, where we want to use it, how we want to use it. It should be our freedom of liberty. It should be our right to say, hey, I would want to self-medicate. I don't trust the damn doctors.
They know what's right for everyone. Once they get to Washington, they know it all.
Well, that's unfortunate. You know, it's not, the only thing that they know, Banner, I'm going to tell you right now, the only thing they know is how much money Big Pharma gave them to protect them from legalizing marijuana. Big Pharma knows damn good and well if medical marijuana is legalized in this country, that it's going to take billions and billions out of their pocket, and they don't care how many people they've killed, 64,000 a year, off opioid addiction and overdosing. They don't care. They don't care if you get fentanyl off the damn stage or not. They don't care. Every time one of those drugs are sold, they're making more money because that's where they're invested in.
You just hit the nail with the hammer, smack dab, drove it right in there. You're absolutely right.
What do you want?
I just don't understand, man. It is crazy to me. Now listen here. Listen to this, guys. Listen to this here.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions has directed federal prosecutors to reevaluate marijuana enforcement. Carter Evans reports it could lead to a federal crackdown on legal weed.
All right, so what have we got in here?
This is Super Lemon Haze.
Each year, more than 100,000 marijuana plants are grown, processed, and packaged in this industrial warehouse in Olympia, Washington. And it's all legal.
A lot of people would be surprised to see what a good recreational facility looks like.
Jerry Tarafiani is with Northwest Cannabis Solutions, the state's leading pot producer, earning $21 million last year.
I think that a lot of politicians have realized that even if they don't personally like marijuana, that this is the better way forward.
They'd rather have it in a place like this than back alleys and garages.
Now, let's talk about that for just a minute, okay? This stuff is being grown in the most professional way, okay? They're not going up and pulling it off of the side of the streets like they've done in Kansas and other areas where it growed wild. They are growing this with great reform. I mean, they are growing medicine that's already been created by God. We just read it in Genesis 1:29. And they're growing it in a safe environment now. Now listen, guys.
Absolutely.
In 2012, Washington became one of the first of 8 states and the District of Columbia to legalize recreational marijuana. It's now a $2 billion business that's raked in $500 million in taxes. But the federal government from the Obama administration, more aggressive enforcement may be coming. Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
I reject the idea that we're going to be better placed if we have more marijuana. And you can just...
Why don't he go back and listen to Alexis and what she said? This young lady and many more like her, have found relief from seizures, chronic pain, depression, recovery from alcohol, recovery from other harder drugs. Jeff, how much do we have to tell you that weed is not a gateway to bigger drugs? Big pharma, fentanyl, codeine, Vicodin, these lead to street drugs because they can't afford big pharma anymore. Not that it makes me angry. I'm calm. It doesn't make me angry. Let's just continue listening here. I'll let him bury his damn self.
But you're
Go
right.
down to the corner grocery store and get it.
Do you think it's a situation where you could see federal raids here on some of your state legal operations? That would be deeply troubling.
Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson has already fought President Trump's travel ban and won.
So you're prepared to go toe-to-toe with the Trump administration?
That's an understatement. The Trump administration should respect what states are doing. We're the laboratories of democracy.
But if this multi-state experiment is not accepted at a federal level, the budding marijuana business could soon take a hit. Carter Evans, CBS News, Olympia, Washington.
Okay, first off, let's go back and give the myth in this, okay? Donald Trump is not against states legalizing marijuana. He said that on a plane. He said that in an interview when he was campaigning. He said that when he went into office. What he has done, Donald Trump, unlike any others, he has not tried to control Attorney Jeff Sessions, which I wish he would. As a matter of fact, I wish he would fire him. I wish he'd get rid of him. Okay? We have a better choice. Right now we got Rudy. Hey, Rudy. That guy right there would probably be more good. He would be more good on a Sunday morning than Jeff Sessions has been the whole time he's been there. Okay? I don't like this guy. I don't like him. His floppy ears and his floppy mouth, the only time he's ever honest is when his lips aren't moving. We need to get rid of this guy. I mean, we need to say it in the old Maxine Waters. Impeach, impeach. We need to get rid of him. He needs to be gone. It's crazy what this guy believes. It just blows me away.
He's stuck in his generation from the 1960s when he was on the campus of Huntington College or something.
Yeah, Huntington College he graduated in 1969 from Huntington College. Then he went to Alabama Law School and got his degree. Now the other day on Twitter,
all those terrible hippies while he was at college being Mr. Preppy were out there protesting against their friends needlessly dying in a stupid war where our country wasn't under threat from anything really. I digress here, but continue, Mike. You're hitting it all over the place.
No, I'm just saying, man. What kind of ticks me off the other day on Twitter, I'd made a little comment, a little joke on there, and say, what do you call an attorney gone bad? Comey. Well, I need to go back and add one. What do you call a lawyer that goes bad? Jeff Sessions. I can't even believe, as stupid as he is about this, that he even graduated law school. Does he not? This is a guy that should know our Constitution backwards and forwards. And to make medical marijuana, make marijuana a frickin' plant now that grows a flower, a very pretty flower. And it's medicine for people that suffer on a daily basis. Banner, you suffer from migraines.
Not according to Mr. Sessions. I don't need relief.
Yeah, we're not good people.
We're not good people. We're deplorable. They live in bubbles, man. They have no concept of what the average person's life is like.
No, man, I'm with you, and I feel exactly what you're saying. And I go right back to the thing again.
Washington has too much power. We have a centralized, powerful government. We almost live in a benevolent police state. You know, it's not like Nazi Germany when you couldn't say anything. The Gestapo would come get you, put you up against the wall or in a concentration camp. It's but you know, it's just I don't know, man.
You know what's crazy? Last night, and we were talking on the phone because you came in from Mississippi today. But last night we were talking on the phone. We were talking about the show. And if you remember, I sat there and I told you, I said, you know something? I'm laying here in my bed. I was sitting there watching Hulu on my laptop. And I'm laying in bed and I said, you know, if because I'm in Tennessee, I can't smoke pot because it's illegal.
You told me you have a lot of knee joint problems. You told me your knee was killing you last night.
It tearing me up. And I'm sitting there, and if you remember me,
you hadn't slept good in 3 or 4 nights.
And if you remember me telling you that if I could be sitting here smoking a joint right now, I could be basically self-medicating myself to where I could sleep and not feel the pain in my knee, that I was still risking that they could come and bust through my door and take me to jail because I'm smoking a plant.
Because you had a lot of pain in your body, not Mr. Sessions' body. Yeah, it's just insanity, man.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's a plant, folks.
Now let me tell you, this is what I call the stand poll. I spoke with, and we're going to have a part 2 of this show here, guys, because we can't get it all in today. But I spoke with 100 Christians, devout Christians, and I was amazed and astonished at the percentage of them that said, yes, medical marijuana. It was put here by God. He put it here. These are devout Christians. You know what the percentage was on that banner?
No, I don't.
72%. 72% of Christians agreed that God put the plant here and it was put here to be used as the meat that we were just talking about. It just goes to the core.
There you go.
It was put here for medicine. It was the Chinese knew it. India knew it. Mexico, they just happened to find out it could be used for recreational also, but they found that out with tequila also, but that's okay. Okay? I don't have any problem with alcohol. I don't care if people drink themselves into oblivion.
Tequila's a drug, man. They ought to ban it.
Yeah.
It does a lot of harm.
Dude, I've eaten the worm on the end of it. You want to talk about having a trip. Man, I tripped. That was crazy, man. I started sweating after I ate it, man, because I swear to God, I've been high as a witch doctor on Halloween night off weed. But you know something? I sat there and I had a smile on my face. I was relaxed at home, watching a good movie. Hell, if I fall asleep in my recliner, who am I hurting? I'm not out behind the wheel of a car, although I have heard, and this came right out of a congressman's mouth, and he said, Mr. Sessions, isn't it true that it's true that people that are smoking marijuana and they drive, they're looking more for policemen, they're obeying the speed limits, they're not driving over the speed limit, they're a lot more cautious. So don't tell me that paranoia is a bad thing. It's a pretty damn good thing. So
it's a great point, man.
It's absolutely nuts.
You're operating heavy machinery.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I'm going to go back over here. I want you to take a look at this. Look up Alexis Bortell, Bortell. You can find her on Facebook. She has a page on there, which is a public figure. And I want you to show her your support.
And her father and her mother. Her father, really, man.
Her whole family. They had to uproot their life out of Texas because Texas would not allow her to use a part of the marijuana plant that was helping her. She doesn't smoke it. She takes it intravenously. She takes a little syringe without a needle on it, squirts it in her mouth, and takes a sip of orange juice. She does this twice a day.
Shocking.
And not a seizure. I mean, from the first time, listen, Banner, you don't have to listen to me. She's there. The first time she took it, she hasn't had a seizure since.
976 days. She's working on 1,000 consecutive days.
Yes.
And Mrs. French telling that we need more research, more study. Mrs. French obviously doesn't have epilepsy. I'm If I'm mistaken, I apologize, Miss French, but I don't think she does. So she wants to deny this wonderful child, brave child, and a wonderful, loving father and mother, trying to help her be a kid, as you say. The hypocrisy is just boundless, man. It's staggering. It's shocking. It's just
You know what?
states' rights was taken away from us. Like I said, in the Civil War, after the Civil War, they didn't want to give the power back because they love that power in Washington. They love it. It's life itself to those people.
What was that lady's name again?
The DEA.
Yeah. That woman from that school. We don't have enough information.
Her last name was French.
Okay, Miss French. Obviously, and excuse me, the Christian people out there listening to it. I warn you, I do have a little bit of a potty mouth. This is something I deal with every day. But all I can say to Mrs. French is this: you must have been born out of an asshole, because you have the shittiest attitude I've ever seen in my life about this. And for you to throw your politics and your beliefs on me is absolutely crazy. I'm going by the word of God. I ain't going by your word. I'm not going by Jeff Sessions' word. I'm going by the word of God that's right here in the King James Version that tells me that God put it on a plant that bears seed, and marijuana plants bear seeds. Now, I want you to explain, as you explained to me, about the female and the male, and why the female bears seeds. Would you please just take a moment and explain this to our audience?
Okay, if you got a male marijuana plant, you're not going to get the flowers. You're going to get seeds. If you have a female marijuana plant, she's going to make the flowers just like a woman would bear children. The female marijuana plant will bear the buds with the THC that alleviates the pain. And if you, I'm not an expert on this, or other people out there that are, but I think if you let that female marijuana plant go past its prime time to cut those buds off, it'll usually bear. I think it kind of its DNA kind of goes a little haywire. It's saying it's the end of the growing season. I'm going to die. I must produce children, and it'll go ahead and produce some seeds. The female will actually, what they call a hermaphrodite. You know that word better than I do, Mike. You're better at big words than me. It'll actually produce some seeds in the hope that those seeds will drop off and her children will reproduce.
It's kind of like saying that a woman carries a child 9 months in her womb.
Right.
Okay? She doesn't carry it 12 months or 13 months, because we know if she did, there's something wrong.
Right.
So that's the same thing that this female plant does. It's a mother.
There you go.
It nurtures her offspring.
Her flowers.
Even though it's just like that fish, the salmon that swims up to spawn. Already knowing once it gets there and it lays the eggs out, it dies.
It dies.
But it does it anyways because it's protecting life. It's the circle of life. And plants are in the same category as that.
That's right.
That marijuana seed, that female, that mother earth there, she lets her seeds drop back into the earth so they can prosper and grow. Mm-hmm. It's no different than what we do with our children. It's no different than what Alexa's father did for her. Right. He left his home in Texas. He left his job. He left his livelihood because he loves his child that much. Jeff Sessions, wake up and smell the coffee, buddy, or smell the damn weed. Okay? Smell it, because it's a good thing. And I'm going to tell you what, man, you're absolutely out of your damn mind if you sit there and you continue on the path you're going on. We need to throw you out of office right now. And folks, look, we are Americans, so we have the right to create a referendum. We can send letters to him, and the more letters that pour into him, because let me tell you, do you think that this is going to be the last position he ever wants to hold? No, he is a lifelong politician. And he wants to stay there as long as we let him.
Mm-hmm. He don't want a real job.
No. So
he's never had a real job. He's a lawyer. How many lawyers have real jobs?
Oh,
lawyers are the lowest form of life on earth, almost.
My name is Jeff.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my name's Jeff. I mean, this guy is. I just.
Of course, I may need a lawyer one day, and he'll be a great guy, but he's still.
I don't think I would use him because I'm probably going to be arrested for carrying weed in an illegal state.
No, America's waking up. They know that this is a medical boon to mankind, It alleviates pain. It's going to alleviate a lot of motor vehicle accidents when people are able to smoke marijuana and compare it to, say, hey, baby, let's go down to the liquor store and get some vodka. And she says, no, I've got some good purple Kush here.
Well, you know, when they mentioned the lemon haze on there, you know, when I was in Colorado during the boom when it became legal, that was the first legal marijuana I ever smoked was the lemon haze. If you remember me calling you, I thought, I'm getting ready to smoke some good lemon haze.
That's right.
And I don't mind telling you, I even smoked a little hash too because I there again, you know, I mean, it's created from marijuana. So I'm like, you know.
I also remember you telling me that how you were sleeping much better every night to get up and go to work the next day, and that your knees, because I know you got some old football injuries, and I know your knees are bad. I hope mine don't get there, but I feel for you. But you told me just how much better you felt.
Well, it kind of makes me sick you saying that because you're so much older than me. You should be limping a lot more than I am. I wake up in the morning, it takes my knees 30 minutes to catch up with my ass.
That's not true, America.
Much older, much older. I know I have an older sounding voice, but hey, that's just me though. You know, I still like to watch Stewie Griffin on The Family Guy, but
I knew you were working very hard out there, a very intensive job, and you were kind of an administrative job out there. And you told me that there was a lot of pressure, and you couldn't sleep at night. And then when it got legal, you were sleeping like a baby. You had less stress. You brought home. You had stress on the job, but you didn't bring it home with you.
Dude, when I was smoking marijuana, I was getting out there jogging up and down the roads. I hadn't been able to do that in years. I was out there actually, and I smoked cigarettes. Jeff Sessions, you may be proud to hear that. I smoked tobacco. Okay, you know,
That'll make him happy.
You know, Big Tobacco, 97. Look it up, guys. They bought and paid for him to get into office. Let's not pinch pennies here, okay? This guy's bought and paid for by 3 organizations: Big Tobacco, Big Pharma, and private prisons.
Mike, I'd like to see a referendum. You know more about politics than I do, because I'm usually studying the past. But I'd love to see a vote here in Tennessee. Let the people decide. Of course, I would go medical first because that's what I desire because of my pain. But if it went recreation, hey, that's even better too. But how does that happen? How can you get that to happen?
Well, you know, there's really 3 steps involved in it, and first one is just getting out there and getting signatures. Calling up people and getting them. But the biggest way, let me tell you the biggest way to do it. Now Tennessee, Tennessee just took it through legislation. They were going to try to they passed a vote through the legislators. They did not leave it up to the people. They were deciding for the people themselves. The first thing you need to do is pick up your phone, and I promise you next week, Tennessee, I will give you the phone number that you need to call. And if you are somebody that wants to see medical marijuana in Tennessee, or I will suggest anywhere else in this country that does not allow it, call your state Congress. Call them. Get them on the phone and say, I want this in the ballot box. I want this I want to vote on this. I don't want you making the decision for me. Let us make the decision. This is how you get it going. But you know, you got to get out there and you got to put shoe leather to the road, and you got to start knocking on doors. Wear that big button and say, I'm proud to be a medical marijuana supporter made in the USA. We don't have to buy marijuana outside of our country like we do oil or like we do steel.
That place in Washington on those videos you showed?
Olympia, Washington.
Looked like a lot of people in there with jobs.
There's a lot. But you know, and I shouldn't go into this, but we're going a little over time, but that's okay. Because we don't have sponsors, we don't have commercials. We do this on our own damn dime. So I'll speak until I want to. But here's the thing. You know what this is what sucks. You know the federal government, they have to, the people that have these legal places in their states, they have to pay the government in cash to pay for their federal taxes. Now they say it's a federal law, so you're breaking the law, but you still have to pay federal taxes, even though you're selling something illegally on a federal basis. You still, do you know in the federal tax code, and I swear to God, look it up, I'm telling you, if you rob somebody, if you steal a car, if you're selling illegal narcotics from Big Pharma, even though you're breaking the law, they still want you to claim the money you've made. Is that not the crazy? And I'm telling you, it's written that way. It's like, please sign right here and saying, hey, I'm illegal, I'm doing this, come and get me.
Only in America.
Only in America.
Our government is so tangled and so snarled, and it's because it's so huge. And to alleviate that, you need to put a lot of power back in states' rights.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, on the ending with that, let's end on that note, because part 2 next week, we are actually going to have a very special guest here with us next week, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. But I will say this much. He is a very, very strong pastor. And we are going to have him here to talk next week. I should say I hope he will come and talk. He talked to me on the phone. I think he probably will. So tune in next week. But remember, guys, let's take our state back. Let's stand on our 10th Amendment and say, federal government, get out of my backyard. I don't need you here. Get out of my house. Okay? Hey, federal government there is to assist the state. If we have flood or tornado or hurricanes, they are there to support the state. That's what the federal government's there for.
They've forgotten they're there to, of course, keep everything going, the lights on and the road surface and everything, and to uphold law and order, to make sure we're all safe. But they're there to serve us. We're not their employees. They are our employees.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to tell you, man, I've enjoyed having y'all here so much today. And tune in with us next week. That's every Friday at 4:20 p.m. And we're going to get this thing going again next week. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for being here with us. Banner, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to drive here from Mississippi to come here. You're costing me a fortune in hotel expense, but that's okay. You're worth every damn penny of it. But we're glad you're here. And always remember, guys, smoke weed every day. Absolutely. Well, guys, that is the end of us today, man. Thank you. We will see you next week. Join in, because we're going to be going right back into Christians on marijuana. Thanks again, and have a great weekend. And always be safe.